Sunday, Sunday. No idea why I started singing this, but it is Sunday and it is the Jaden Show. And I am Jaden Cornelius. Welcome to my show. We are just about to go all the way to Australia to meet George Ginis and Rokk, the producer and the artist of Kandinsky Opera. I know you're going to be very excited to meet them and you are going to love them. Let's watch one of their videos. This is called Love is Contagious. This is Kandinsky Opera.
Driving you mad. She said you love her and you'd understand. She asked me to go over tonight. I know it's messed up, but I just might. Do we really know what love is? We fall in love too easily. Love is contagious. Love is a disease. I didn't think it would be this way. I really don't know what more to say. I fell in love with the girl of your dreams. We were friends, now I'm caught in between. Do we really know what love is? We fall in love too easily. Love is contagious. Love is a disease. Sad ones like a theater cat. She gets her love wherever she can, breaking hearts along the way. Can you understand? Love is. Love is. Love is contagious. Love is a disease. Love is contagious. Love is a disease.
Let's go and meet the masterminds behind Kandinsky Opera. This week's special, very, very special guests, the amazing George Ginis and Rokk. Let's go meet them now. George Ginis and Rokk, welcome to the Jaden Show. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good to meet you.
And you, what time is it in sunny Australia at the moment?
Not so sunny. It's about 8 a.m. on a Friday.
Yep.
Really? That's ludicrously early.
It is for the music industry, yeah.
Yeah, you know. Lots of late nights and late mornings. So tell me, I mean, I want to talk about like the Kandinsky Opera and the projects that you're doing now and your plans for the future. But how did it all start? How did you guys get into music?
How did we get into music?
Yeah. How did it all start for you both?
Well, one at a time.
One at a time. I was in a band basically in the early 80s called First Offence. That was my first Melbourne band. And we were playing live, and we actually did some demos with Rokk around 1985, wasn't it?
Yeah, way back then.
Way back then, we did we did about 5 songs at a studio, and Rokk was the engineer. So that's how I met Rokk.
Wow.
So I've known him for about 30 odd years, on and off. Like I lost track of him for a while. But yeah, I was in a band, First Offence. First Offence split up. Then I had my own cover band called the Divorcees.
Okay.
Yeah, we all had to be divorced to be in that band. The Divorcees evolved into Three's a Crowd. Three's a Crowd, I think we were one of the first trios in Melbourne to use the sequencer and the drum machine. That was early 90s. And I gave up music altogether late 93 for family reasons.
Okay.
So I took a massive break, like 15 years before doing this project with Rokk.
Wow, that's amazing. And Rokk, and when did it all start for you?
Well, basically I've been a music lover all my life, and I never picked up an instrument until early 20s, and I started making noise on saxophone.
Wow. Okay.
And I soon realised that I was too, we'll say lazy, but not dedicated enough to teach my fingers to do what was in my head.
Okay.
And I basically wanted to play all the instruments, so I figured the best way was to become a music producer and tell other people what to play.
Okay.
And so I got in through engineering. A friend of mine wanted to build a studio, which is where I met George.
Yeah.
That was places called GM. It's still going. I helped him build the studio. Had really no experience, but taught myself everything, and became the house engineer, flying by the seat of the pants. And George's band was one of the early bands I recorded. And then I moved on various different studios just to be freelance and try and get more experience. It eventually led to owning my own studio space, spending 10 years in LA doing it over there as a freelance engineer, learning a lot from some of the best in the world. I was very fortunate with the people I met.
Wow.
Came back to Australia and set up a home studio, and I was still in touch with another George who owned the studio, and told him I was looking for a singer to collaborate with. And he said, George Ginis is, getting back into music. He wants to get back into music. You should talk to me. And that's how we reconnected. So it was basically probably at least a 20-year break, because I spent a decade in LA. I've been back for about 10, 12 years at the time, and hadn't seen George for at least probably 5, 6 years before that. So it was nearly 3 decades.
3 decades.
Wow.
And then reconnecting, and it's been really productive. It's been great.
That's amazing. When you were you both from musical backgrounds, or was it kind of just like a passion that kind of grew and grew and grew for you both?
More of a passion for me, but my dad was into music and he'd sing around the house, and he was definitely a music lover. But no, there's some members of the family I've discovered played instruments. My oldest uncle was an instrument maker, mandolins and things like that.
Wow, cool.
I didn't know any of that growing up. I found that out later.
Wow. I didn't know that. I'm a country boy, or ex-country boy, and before I came to Melbourne and joined First Offence, I had I was in local bands in Maryborough, but I didn't know how to tune a guitar, so I started out playing bass because I didn't know how to tune a guitar, basically.
Okay.
And so bass was like an easy instrument for me. I'd play along with records, like tune the guitar to the record. And then it wasn't till I was in a local band that I saw the guitarist doing chords. So while I was playing bass, I was learning guitar watching his hand. So yeah, I play by ear mainly. I can't read music or anything like that.
Wow, that's amazing.
I play guitar or bass. Yeah, but it's all by ear. Yeah.
So
So
the music that you, sorry, the lot of the stuff, what?
Sorry?
You said a lot of the stuff, and then I interrupted you.
Oh no, a lot of the work I do with rock, I was going to say is like rock, for example, might come up with lyrics or the keyboard or drums. A lot of the melodies and that, I don't know, I just make them up. Like I do a lot of stuff by ear. And then, well, I know how to tune a guitar now, obviously, because I've played guitar on some of the tracks. I was lucky enough to play on guitar on 4 or 5 tracks, wasn't I? So about 4 or 5.
Yeah, you played a few.
I played guitar on a couple of the tracks with rock as well. So mainly bass though, usually bass.
So the process is, it evolved over a lot of years, just working with other people in the studio and giving them suggestions of things to try in their music as a producer. And then started making my own tracks just for fun. This is many years ago when I had my own studio. And collaborated with a few different people, one English guy in particular. We did a bunch of demos but never finished anything. And I was pretty keen to try and just, finish using my, engineering skills and ability to mix and master, actually take the ideas right through to the finished product. And Kandinsky Opera started a bit before I reconnected with George, with another guitarist friend, and we were making these tracks. But cut a long story short, he wanted to have a band that was very typical hair rock kind of thing.
Okay.
And I wanted to experiment much more than that. And that the motto I used for it is for Kandinsky Opera is genre is a dirty word, because I don't like being locked into any particular genre. The tracks
Style,
just any style whatsoever. I'm good with all of it as long as the song moves me. It moves me. That's what I am like listening to music. So the same thing happened with creating music. So I had these tracks. I don't sing. I'm a hack on a keyboard. I can read music, but I'm not like proficient enough to sight read and play an instrument. I can't jam with people because I've never learned. Taught my fingers to do what I hear in my head. So the advent of MIDI and computer music. You still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Just heard a sound.
We heard a tone.
The advent of computer music and MIDI and then digital audio meant that I could do a lot more in the studio without having the ability to necessarily play all the parts. I could program them, write them in. Yeah. And so the things became better, more sophisticated. The other thing kind of divided. We're friends, but he's doing his rock band thing and, I'm using the more experimental tracks. And I needed a name, and I came up with Kandinsky Opera because I wanted it to be not my name. I'm not even really a performer as such. I wanted it to have an abstract name. I thought of Vasily Kandinsky, abstract artist. So that's how it came about. Reconnected with George, and it started moving pretty quickly at that stage.
Yeah. 2017, we wrote quite a few.
Quite a few of the early things.
Yeah, Love Is Contagious, Mind's Eye, all those early ones. We were rolling them off really quick.
Yeah. And then life gets in the way. George has his family and other things.
Yeah, we have other issues, and I took a break during COVID as well. We had the lockdowns here as well, Jaden. So I took a break for probably 18 months, and then reconnected with Rock only late last year. Around November, we recorded Tomorrow. Like we started doing some songs that we're sort of halfway through Tomorrow before, during COVID, weren't we? Or we sort of were stuck on some songs and didn't finish them. So we finished them late last year, like Tomorrow and Take Me Back, that disco track. I think you were already working on it before.
Yeah, well, I kept working on music on my own during the COVID period because it was, firstly it's therapeutic, it's good, it makes you feel good. And I couldn't turn off the tap, the creative outlet. So I was constantly making tracks, but I would usually write the lyrics, but I very rarely would do any sort of vocal at all. I would just leave that up to George.
Yeah, so I'd turn up and sometimes Rock has got these lyrics He's got the drums and keyboards down already, and he goes, I need a melody. So I'll belt them out. He sets up the microphone, and I'll belt out what I think it goes like, and then Rock goes, I like that, or try this, try that, and we experiment. And then he's got like a middle eight with nothing, and so I start singing on the middle eight, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes the middle eights are really good on the songs; they stand out.
Yeah.
On the tracks.
George is very good at inventing a melody very quickly, and given that I usually, with the lyrics, I usually know, what the phrasing or timing will be, but I don't have a melody. If I come up with a melody, it's too obvious. It's very much following the root notes, and it's pretty boring most of the time. So I don't bother most of the time. I just leave it. Sometimes I have such a strong idea that I'll mumble a really bad guide vocal, and George takes it from that. But that's not. Most often, it's not. It's just the music is fairly developed. It may still need a bass line. Sometimes I do a bass line. But it's fairly developed, but there's no vocal part, the melody written. That's all pretty much firstly improvised by George, and then we shape it if necessary.
Nice, amazing.
And the song has changed quite a few times over a period of time. Like ones we did early 2020, 21 are different now. Like we re-look at them and revisit them, and then the lyrics might change completely.
Oh yeah, okay.
For the better.
Yeah, or I've done dance remixes, kind of, of some of the songs. But I try and keep. When I do that, I, go with a dance beat and groove. But I generally try and keep the song structure and melody pretty true to the original version.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get into like DJ type remixes where you hardly recognise the original song. That's all valid, and I get it, but that's not what not my forte.
Yeah. When you guys are sitting back in your respective homes, what music do you chill out? What's your kind of kickback and relaxation? What do you listen to?
So what do we listen to? I'm old style. I listen to Beatles mainly.
Okay.
And I recently bought Julian Lennon's album Jude. I'm into that style. Like I don't listen to a lot of the new stuff. I can't get into it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, one thing we have in common is the love of the Beatles. But I started because of my age with all the typical 60s, 70s rock. I was a big Springsteen fan. Peter Gabriel, Pink Floyd, big into Pink Floyd, and countless others. I mean, all sorts of things. And because I was involved in recording people who were generally, the older I got, the younger they were by comparison. I kept up with sort of trends in music and modern music, and I definitely got into a lot of 80s pop, synth-based stuff that was fairly popular, but a lot of it was more fringe. And then in the 90s, I got heavily into trip hop. The whole concept of having the hip hop grooves, but having a really nice jazzy or bluesy or soulful female vocal on it, singing rather than rapping, really appealed to me. So I started making tracks like that. And in the States, ended up in a collaboration with a female singer. We released a thing independently called Area 27, which did relatively well. I mean, it started selling quite a few copies, just completely independently. But then that was right about the time Napster took a hold, and this affected a lot of independent artists and certainly my industry in terms of, so I was never like the big shot doing the platinum records for the major labels. I was working with virtual unknowns, independent artists, the majority of the time. So when people couldn't sell physical CDs anymore at their gigs. Their ability to pay people like me to record became, a very,
Well,
I
almost
wouldn't say,
impossible, right?
well, it nearly killed it all. From that time on, there was just a steady decline. And streaming has helped a little bit. There is a bit of a resurgence in vinyl as well, which is nice.
Yeah.
But, we all know it's a lot tougher to make a living out of recorded music than it ever has been since the beginning of recorded music.
Oh, I was signed to BMG back in the 90s, and it's completely different. I mean, when we were still using reel to reel, and it was a completely different ball game to now. Like I was saying on some of the other shows, I could, if you wanted people in a certain area in England to hear you, you had to go and do some dodgy ass 3-song PA in some nightclub, hoping that they weren't too eed or drunk off their face to actually remember the name of the group, let alone the song, and then go back there in 4 weeks' time and do it again. Whereas now I can sell an album in Ethiopia just while I pop to the loo. It's bizarre. But at the same time as well, it's also, like there is no money. I mean, all my fans were still the people when I started doing classical music from pop and R&B, all my fans were like, oh, you need to bring out a CD. Would love to have your CD. So, made CDs. I still have all my CDs here. I mean, I sold a lot, but, no one's buying them anymore. People are just, and you get pence for
like everything, there's pros and cons. The good side is that, I can sit in this studio that I put together in it's basically a converted garage and make okay, I have the many, many years of recording experience and all of that, but I can make a finished product that sounds really damn good in this without leaving this room and put it up online and it's out there in the world.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. The downside is everyone can do that, even with zero musical ability, because you can now use AI-generated music tracks and sing completely out of key and use auto-tune and put out a song that's competing for space with all the actual musicians. So some people think that's good because it levels the playing field. I don't know that it does.
I don't know if it does, to be fair. I think it's a lot different.
Very few artists. Go on.
I say you've got artists where?
No, what I'm saying is I think fewer artists actually do anything sustainable. There's so much content that it makes it really hard for it to even call it an industry.
Yeah.
It's a hobby and some people get lucky.
Yeah.
And very few, sure, Miley Cyrus and people like that do exceptionally well, but she started many years ago.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to go from, unknown internet music artists as opposed to a TikToker or something like that.
Yeah.
And develop, or a YouTuber, and develop a following big enough to sustain a serious kind of career. There are exceptions. Bieber sort of started that way. But even most of the exceptions end up signing with major labels who now take, do 360 deals and take a chunk of everything.
Everything, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's
not
there are pros and cons, but it's definitely not the industry I remember. Almost now you just have to do it because you love it with zero expectations. Therefore, there are no disappointments. So you're just enjoying the journey, right?
Yeah,
pretty much.
We enjoy it. Like, that's why we do it. That's why I come over. Like, it's an hour's drive for me. I enjoy putting something together.
Yeah, when we got together post-COVID, I made a concerted effort to, push George a bit too, because I know he's got time constraints and whatever, to try and get a song a week released, like 4 songs a month, not necessarily every week, but 4 a month. And we're able to sustain that up till now, because I can also rework other songs, or there's a backlog, a big backlog of music tracks.
Yeah, if I can't make it over, Rock will find something or remix something.
Yeah,
like
he
pushes something out, like a dance track, or he will remix an old song like Love is Contagious.
Yeah.
Now is a dance track as well, like he's done, like
yeah, but basically, if we lived closer and we could get together twice a week, we'd be pumping out a song a week, no problem.
That's amazing.
It's a bit of distance, and I can only do weekends. So,
and there's a backlog of material. Some that's already had various states of completion. Some are just raw backing tracks. Some are completed tracks that are just waiting for vocals.
Well, we started a second album.
Yeah.
COVID. We started a second LP. The first one's on Bandcamp, as we said. But we started a second one, but now because there's been such a gap, we just moved on to new songs. Like, we haven't really looked at some of those.
Yeah, some of them have evolved into new songs. But they were based on an old idea. And there's so much material. I mean, I've got folders and folders on hard drives of either almost completed songs or song ideas. And I'm talking hundreds. You know,
amazing.
Not all of them are gems. Some are, very raw ideas that I listen back to and go, not much there. But a lot of them got a lot of potential.
Well, I was speaking to a singer called Mikey J from Melbourne last week, and he was saying like he's already like, I don't know, put out something like 5 albums. I don't know what it is about you Australians, but I'm thinking I need to start getting my shit sorted out. I've done one single in 5 years. And then guys are like pumping out like track after track. I'm like, oh my goodness, you guys are giving me a kick up the arse now. This is it. Got to start putting a few more tracks out this year is my plan. So what are your plans for the future? What's happening? What do you see the future as individual artist and your project as well? What are your plans?
Yeah, well, I've started getting more serious about YouTube, which is something I originally almost ignored because I didn't like them. Only because, they pay so little to the music artist. But I sort of thought about that, and I'm, well, it is a video format. They don't care whether you're making music or talking to the camera or making silly videos. It's primarily a video format. So the people that do well have obviously got millions of views, and that seems like almost a bridge too far. But getting monetized is probably doable in the very near future. We'll get enough subscribers and enough views to at least monetize it and have a small source of income. And one of the reasons for doing songs, for a month or one a week if possible, is that YouTube seems to respond to that with recommending your videos more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So something about the algorithm likes regular output or content. And naturally it's in their favor to have as much content as possible. And they don't care, which creator it comes from, as long as there's plenty of content. New content all the time, but it does help. So the last few months, in the last 90 days, we've had almost about the same number of views, almost as many, and it's probably going to be more very soon than we've had in the previous 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's picking up.
So even if it just means more people are hearing the music, that's a good thing.
Yes.
Obviously, out of all the listeners, you're probably only getting 1 or 2% that really dig your music. Most of them just click, have a bit of a listen. It's not.
Yeah, it might be
it's always been a numbers game anyway, so that's okay. So that's the main focus, but there's also a bunch of songs which I prefer and probably lend themselves more to a female voice. and I've tried a few female singers, but haven't found one yet to collaborate with regularly. And I'd love to get even the duet thing happening, or the Fleetwood Mac idea with male and female vocals.
We tried me and type bands, but it didn't work. Trying to get me singing higher.
Yeah. It doesn't. It's not even sure the range is one thing, but also just the female aesthetic and sound of female voices. Some of my music, I'd really love to hear more of that. So I've done a few recently, and got one more young female vocalist who also plays guitar, and I haven't sat with her yet. We just spoke on the phone, but she's super keen. So that's another area of focus, just to broaden the scope, vocally speaking.
Amazing.
The different people have come in too as guests, haven't they? Like,
we've used guest vocalists all along. We did one cover of Prince's Sign of the Times, and one of my friends said, "Oh, you should try my cousin on this. He'd be really good." And he came in and nailed it. He did really well. One of the Bowie tribute that put together, I sent to a friend in the States, just because I don't know. I just thought he'd be the right person for it. But the cover of the Bowie song "Heroes," George did an awesome job on that. So it's just horses for courses, I guess.
Yeah. I did the backing on the other one.
Yeah, you did backing vocals on the tribute one. So although the overwhelming majority of stuff now has been me and George, and friend Tony has played guitar on quite a few.
Tony Evans, he's good on the guitar.
He's played on quite a few, and a couple of guest musicians here and there. We've done the bulk of it. It's not really meant to be limited to that. We're very open to, having other guest vocalists or other people doing little appearances, cameos, whatever. That's fine.
Sweet.
But in terms of the female vocalist, I would like to find someone that's a bit more regular.
Of course.
I guess the main problem with music, because it doesn't have a lot of money generated, recording music the way we do in, doing it ourselves independently. People have to live. They've got to pay rent. They've got to do all of that. So getting anyone to consistently come and do something. In the old days, bands would get together and rehearse once or twice a week at least. Every other collaboration I did when I was in the States, my one condition was, okay, I'll do this. We'll see how it goes, but we need to get together twice a week and work on it, minimum, and then you just work at home. It's near impossible to get someone to commit to that.
Yeah. No one commits here, do they?
And I understand why, but it's very frustrating because of having the history and the other music industry that we really don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So conquering YouTube is the main aim for the not too distant future.
Giving it a go, yeah. Look, the main aim is just to keep writing and recording and producing good quality content.
Doing what you love.
Challenging, I like to challenge myself all the time. And sometimes it's in a small way. Is there something sonically that I didn't do on the last recording that I could do now? A different approach, or try and push myself to make an even better mix than the last one. And the law of diminishing returns definitely applies, because it takes a lot of hours and a lot of work to get a very small increment of improvement. I also design my own studio monitors, and they're incredibly accurate, and that's been a big part of what I do, and makes it really easy to. I just use the one big set of speakers. I don't have any small comparative speakers. I don't have to go listen in the car. I don't have to listen on the TV. When it's right in this room on these speakers, it translates everywhere. So that helps a lot, because I can forget about the fact that, what's it going to sound like when it gets out of the studio?
Yeah.
Trust it 100%. That's very rare. I found that even in the States, that's completely rare. So just creating and doing the best possible job I can, or we can, or whatever, is definitely the main objective. The YouTube thing started as a curiosity, but I can see the value in it now. Yeah. I can see the potential to. Don't expect, everyone that clicks on your video to become a fan.
Yeah, or a subscriber.
But some will.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, guys, so future YouTube superstars, where else can people find you on your social media platforms?
Okay. I've got the Twitter account and Facebook account under my name, but Rock's also got the Kandinsky Opera Facebook page.
And there's also a Rokktopia page.
Rokktopia page.
Rokktopia is the name of my little studio here.
Okay.
And so that encompasses like all music I'm doing. But the overwhelming majority is Kandinsky Opera. That's my main project. That's where, the bulk of the stuff sits or comes from or is generated for. Occasionally, something doesn't fit that very well for some reason or another, so it comes out under different project name, but that's minor. So the Kandinsky Opera Facebook page and the Rokktopia Facebook page crossover. Yeah, there's a lot of crossover there, but
LP on Bandcamp.
Yeah. We've
Okay.
got the Bandcamp has the last LP, the first and last LP we made as Kandinsky Opera. There's also a 35-track instrumental album that I did just when there was a period where there was, very difficult to get vocalists, and I had all these tracks, and I just put out these 35 tracks. It's called The Magic Hour. That's on Spotify.
Okay.
So if anyone who searches Kandinsky Opera on almost any social media,
we'll find something.
You'll find something,
Yeah.
probably.
There's some singles on Spotify too, isn't there?
Yeah, there's
Our
Spotify
early
singles, and some of the more recent ones I started releasing as streaming. I don't do all of them because I'm trying to keep YouTube somewhat exclusive as the main thing at this stage, which is kind of weird because the others pay better than
more.
YouTube.
Yeah,
in terms of per play. But it just seems, I just think that the whole monetization thing is fascinating and can be good for artists just to help sustain and get more exposure too. So I'm sort of trying to make that the main port of call, see how it goes. And there's about 25, 26, 27, I don't know, something like that now. I'm losing count, maybe 30 videos on YouTube that are Kandinsky Opera.
Probably 30.
Yeah, about 30. And most of them featured with a couple of other vocalists. So that has become a bit of a problem.
so everyone needs to head towards your YouTube account at this moment. That's what we're.
I think that's a great place to start.
Lovely. And guys at home, just while we're talking about YouTube, it takes not even 2 seconds to press subscribe. So all you have to do is this, or not this, or with one of these things. It's that easy. So please, it's great to watch. It's great to comment, but just click on that little subscribe button. It takes no time at all. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. And if you genuinely like it,
if you genuinely like it,
leave a comment. And if you hate it, I don't mind. Leave a comment.
Yeah, and still subscribe. What the hell?
Yeah, I don't care.
They should leave a comment.
You can't please everyone. Nobody can.
Absolutely.
As others. So I don't mind people saying, "Oh, I like this. I don't like that." It's all good. I don't have an issue with that.
And what's one man's passion is another man's poison, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's all good.
That's right.
So that's the main
some sort of
thing.
feedback. Yeah.
And look, we started off by making our own videos, and the expense of doing that and making them any good soon became prohibitive. So I've just started using footage that stock footage basically. But I'm actually really surprised at how creative you can be doing that and how cool the videos can be. And with the advent of, 4K and so much footage available of almost anything, even though they're short clips, for a music video, it's kind of cool because you don't need necessarily really long clips to make a music video. So I've been primarily doing that, finish a song and put a video together and get it up.
Fantastic.
But I miss ours too.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great to make some more actual music videos that we actually conceive and shoot ourselves. And people have often said, "Oh, you can just do that on your phone and all that." And
No,
you can.
We did Almost Normal, and it was a lot of better.
Yeah, I mean, some of our videos, there's a camera crew. There's a very minimal crew, but there's a camera crew. We've had makeup artists. We've had.
We had to get extras.
I've built a set. We've had extras.
Wow.
It's not a big production, but it's very easy to chew up $2-3 grand making a video, which is peanuts in the old terms, what used to be spent on music videos. But it's a lot of money to come up with when there's very little return.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had some plans for what is it? Everything went black, but again, it was budget. Yeah.
So I ended up using some of the stuff that shot of George for the other video, and using just a green screen and background with found footage. And either way, it's still fun to do, and it's challenging, trying to make them better every time. And it's starting to go really well. The upside of using the stock footage is that most of it is really beautifully shot in 4K. So you can get some really high quality looking things. Getting the artist in the video,
that's the difficult bit. Yeah,
that's the difficult bit. So often people are more and more comfortable these days with videos not featuring the artist as such.
They don't have to.
They don't have to be
from day one.
Yeah. And
even lyric videos now. Lyric videos seem to be all the thing.
And I've always been okay with that. I mean, I think about, some of the Pink Floyd videos where even if they're not the live stuff, but, they're actual videos, and The Wall and all of that.
Yeah.
Even if the band were in some of those, they were a minor feature.
Yeah.
The rest of it, and yes, it was big production, but the story and the animations and all of that, Gorillas, you never even saw who the band were.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of a mystery. That's good.
Yeah. There's lots of artists that have done that and done that very successfully.
Yeah,
but it is kind of fun to be in your own videos too. Not for me so much because I'm a behind.
But for the artists, I've always enjoyed doing videos. I've got to be honest.
Yeah.
So when I've been in them, it was a story.
Generally tried to have some kind of narrative that related to the music.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for being on my show. It's been super lovely to chat to you. And thank you so much for spending your morning with me. What was that? Oh, sorry, I missed that bit.
Sorry, I was saying good luck with your music as well.
No, thank you. Well, maybe there can be a Kandinsky Opera Jaden collab in the future. That would be lovely. I'll come on.
That's really possible. Yeah, collab would be great. We'll have a chat about that, and we'll try and come up with something.
Yeah, we'll have a think about that. But I wish you huge amounts of luck, and everyone at home, go and support these lovely gentlemen. Go and find them all over their social media platforms and on their music streaming and download platforms as well. Guys, come and talk to me again sometime when you've got your next album release, and we'll have a catch up. It'll be lovely.
Okay, thank you.
Good. We'll work on it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys. Take good care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Super wonderful, guys. George and Rokk, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for getting up early as well to join me on my show. Super, super appreciate it. And I wish you all the luck in the world for your future projects. Thank you so much, you guys at home, you crazy kids, for joining me again on another wonderful Sunday. Another wonderful The Jaden Show with wonderful people. Thank you so much. Please go over and check out all of George and Rokk's social media platforms. Don't forget you can find all their music on major streaming and download platforms as well as Bandcamp, etc., etc. While you're hanging around the old internet, you can come and find me as well, Jaden Cornelius, on most things. If not, just Google my name with an IOUS and you see where I pop up. Come and say hello on other platforms as well. I'm looking forward to chatting to you and to hearing from you. Thank you so much for being part of my show. I will look forward to seeing you again next Sunday on The Jaden Show for another incredible show with another incredible guest. Take care. Stay beautiful. Have a wonderful week. And I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
As soon as you're born, they make you feel small by giving you no time instead of it all, till the pain is so big you feel nothing at all. A working class hero is something to be. Working class hero is something to be. They hurt you at home and they hit you at school. They hate you if you're clever and despise a fool, till you're so fucking crazy you can't follow their rules. A working class hero is something to be. Working class hero is something to be. When they've tortured and scared you for 20 odd years, then they expect you to pick a career. When you can't really function, you're so full of fear. A working class hero is something to be. Working class hero is something to be. Keep you dope with religion and sex and TV. And you think you're so clever and classless and free, but you're all fucking peasants as far as I can see. A working class hero is something to be. Working class hero is something to be. There's room at the top, they are telling you still. But first you must learn how to smile as you kill. If you wanna be like the folks on the hill. Working class hero is something to be. Working class hero is something to be. just follow me. If you want to be a hero, well, just follow me.